Estamos esperando a Roger Savage, nuestro invitado principal, así que vamos a esperar unos minutos. Bueno, vamos a esperar unos minutos para que entre Roger Savage, nuestro invitado principal. Estaba con nosotros y decidimos reiniciar el sistema, así que en cualquier segundo entra. Gracias por su presencia. Ok, vamos a darle la bienvenida. Antes que nada, muchas gracias por su tiempo. Este va a ser uno de nuestros primeros webinars que le hemos llamado con el primer tema. Queremos darle la bienvenida en nombre de Panamá Pacífico. Le damos las gracias por asistir, por estar conectados. Vamos a desarrollar una serie de capítulos sobre temas que vamos a ir comunicando poco a poco con el fin de mantenernos juntos durante esta etapa que vive el país. En estos capítulos digitales van a encontrar valiosa información y nos encantaría pues poder seguir manteniendo una dinámica donde podamos compartir juntos como comunidad. El tema de hoy es un tema súper profundo, súper interesante. Se llama Ciudades con propósitos, habitantes con propósitos. Invitamos hoy a una de las personas claves en la confección del plan maestro, que ya tiene más de 10 años, es Roger Savage. Roger Savage hoy por hoy es el director de consultoría de ciudades de la empresa Bureau Apple, una de las empresas más importantes del mundo en este tema de planificación y ciudades. Ha ayudado a más de 100 ciudades alrededor de 18 países y ha estado involucrado en más de 50 desarrollos de planes maestros de usos mixtos. Tiene una amplísima experiencia. Nosotros hemos estado trabajando con él desde el día 1 y pues esto siempre buena conversación. Aquí llegó Roger. ¿Lo ven? Vamos a ver si lo ven.
Hi there, Arturo.
Hello, Roger. Hello, how are you?
Very good.
So we are live. Entonces el formato de esta presentación es que pues ya les presenté a Roger Savage. Vamos a hacerles unas preguntas para que nos cuente él desde su perspectiva internacional un poquito de la historia de Panamá Pacífico, cómo proyectos como ese se deben de conectar con todos los residentes y con todos los colaboradores, y sin duda alguna que al final de la conversación quisiéramos escucharlos también cuál es su punto de vista con la situación actual. So, Roger, how are you?
Very good. Buenas tardes a todos.
Good evening to you, and thank you for being here. It's just a pleasure always to talk to you. I was explaining all our viewers your experience and that you are one of the creators of the master plan, and explain today also your experience in previous projects. So let's jump into the subject because times start to run. So let's start with a very simple and open question, Roger. What do cities needs a plan?
Yeah, I think when you look back in history, I think many cities have grown organically, but I think the opportunity of a planned city means that you can consider all of the requirements and needs that the population and the people need. So by having a plan, you can really maximize the quality of life of an area. And it means that you can get the infrastructure, the services, and also the living environment all planned out from the beginning.
All right. So back then, when you were one of the creators of this master plan, what was the purpose or what were the objectives of the master plan of Panamá Pacífico?
Yeah, well, I think people know the history of Howard and the environment of the area. So this was really the first kind of master planned community within Panama, and it was really an opportunity to revitalize and bring new life to what had been a kind of abandoned area, almost a former airbase. So I think when the planning was started, it was really thinking through what should be the vision for this area and what are the key principles. And I think one of the first things that really struck the team was around the natural habitat and the environment of the area. It's very green, and there is some hills and topography on the site, and looking to retain those natural features and getting it to contribute to the area was the first principle. It says that there was some existing infrastructure on the site already, so trying to reuse and upgrade as much of that as possible was really a good thing to do from the point of sustainability. And then after that, it was really thinking about the mix of activities to bring to the area in terms of work, jobs, employment, but also the services, and really creating an excellent living environment so that we could attract people to the area.
Yeah, in that time, actually, parte del formato es que yo complemente un poco marcos de referencia se mantenga durante el tiempo. Entonces, hoy el 2020, el marcos de referencia de Panamá Pacífico se ha mantenido. Hemos hecho unos cálculos y el 95% de todas las decisiones de planificación todavía se mantiene. Back then, Roger, in 2009, the concepts of sustainability, resilience, mixed-use densities, and smart cities were new for us as a country. During that time, what were the cities that inspired you to bring those concepts to Panamá Pacífico?
Yeah, I think we had some experience of obviously looking at that in Europe, but I think what we did was to look at benchmarks around the world. So from a sustainability point of view, it was really important to consider other tropical countries. So we looked at the best developments we could find in places like Singapore, in Australia. We looked at the States and really looked at how the kind of eco-town, eco-city principles have been applied in those areas, but in a tropical climate. So it was important to think about the breezes of the vegetation, but also things like the drainage and using sustainable drainage mechanisms on the site, but using it as an asset. So linking them with the green areas and the recreation areas within the site. In terms of the smart features, it was really thinking through about creating a place where everything works, having high quality broadband infrastructure, but then using that connectivity to link up things like the security systems, the lighting, the energy systems, and doing that in a way that is as energy efficient as possible. So again, having an environmental benefit there.
Yeah, what is so unique of this master plan in terms of logistics? We are very close to the Panama Canal. We have in place an airport. What do you consider to be unique of the Panama Pacífico master plan?
Yeah, the canal is a unique feature of Panama. Our site is really well located in terms of its proximity to the port and the canal itself. But there's not many places where you've got an airport, a port, and then the Inter-American Highway all coming together. So I think this really made it quite an attractive business location, both in terms of logistics, but also other services as well. So again, it was quite a unique opportunity to be able to do a project at this kind of scale.
The one of the most word that we have been saying right now is resilience. How Panama Pacífico master plan is being resilience right now?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things was that the plan was sort of originally prepared at a time of uncertainty and adversity. It's on the eve of a crisis. So it was really important to create quite a flexible framework from the beginning, but also to have the key elements fixed that would be enduring and last over time. So again, thinking of the natural habitat and the green infrastructure framework and having that established from the beginning was key. And then the other thing was to, in planning the strategies for the individual precincts and neighborhoods within the site, was to create a real mixed use environment, because I think the learning from other communities is all about how those activities come together and have a mix, so that you've got all of the facilities you need within easy reach. So thinking of the clusters within the site, the social amenities, the schools, the mix of housing, the retail, and then connecting all of those nodes up together, not only by road, but also thinking of walking and cycling routes as well. Yeah,
we have previous to this meeting, we have a very good conversation in clustering. Okay. Do you want to amplify or just to recall what we were talking about like 3 hours ago?
Yeah, I'll try and remember. I think
I will have to.
no. I think we were talking a little bit in terms of a business environment. I think
Correct.
having a mix of the activities there. I think increasingly within industry, there's quite a lot of and services. So certain sectors particularly benefit from clustering and having supply chain linkages all in one environment. So sectors such as food is critical. I think the opportunity of having the airport very close by has some great opportunities, particularly for things like e-commerce and fulfillment centres. And then there's the business cluster as well, in terms of the office and the workspace that's available. I think it's quite interesting to see how quite a mix of sort of larger and smaller firms have grouped together around the courtyard and the shops and services there.
Yeah, when you did the master plan 11 years ago, they were not four bridge over the canal, and the expansion of the Panama Highway wasn't in a sketch. What, when you hear that those big projects were going to impact Panama Pacífico, what were your sensations?
Yeah, I mean, when we first looked at it, I think we always knew that accessibility was going to be a key thing because it's such a big site, and originally it was perceived that it's quite far away from the city, but I think Panama has grown over time, and the center of gravity has shifted, and I think the additional crossing and the planned metro and monorail, I think is really plugging in that side of the canal. And I think the opportunity, particularly when that arrives, is going to enable additional activities to be accommodated in terms of retail and leisure options. And I think it can really anchor some of the wider areas in Arahan.
Yes. All right. What should be the role of the Panama Pacifico citizen? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when you look at a city, I think Shakespeare said that what is a city but its people. So all places are built by the communities and the people that live there. And
I like that.
yeah, Panama Pacifico is no different. So I think one of the things when you're planning things is to get the scale right. You see so many kind of traditional sort of dormitory towns that are just housing, but I think planning the social environment in terms of the walkability, but also things like play areas, shops, but also public spaces to support community interaction is critical. And I think the school does tend to be a bit of an anchor for the community more broadly. But I think those kind of walkable neighborhoods and having housing grouped around green spaces is a good way to promote that interaction. And I think the other thing is that obviously we've got the internet now, and online is equally important in terms of staying in touch. And some of the community networks that have grown up have really supported the kind of real life interaction, as well as things like the events program and activities that are planned.
How technology is a game changer here. I know I do remember a conference that you gave in technology 2 years ago, and you were talking actually the same topics that I right now really exploding.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think technology is obviously affecting every economic sector, and it's also an opportunity to integrate that within the physical environment. But it's not an end in itself. It's got to deliver some real benefit to companies and to people at the end of the day. So I think we've obviously seen things like online retail take off and be increasingly important. But we've also seen technology enable conversations like this in terms of allowing communication over greater distances, and it's having quite a big impact on working patterns. So I think from Panamá Pacífico, you can see people perhaps opting to work from home, maybe 1 or 2 days a week in the future, even beyond the current situation. And the technology allows you to do that. I think that's the key benefit. Efficiency, but also using apps and delivering some additional digital services to residents and businesses through that is a great way to stay in touch.
All right, and you said this before, but I want to bring the subject again: the e-fulfillment cluster and the logistic structure that are here already. How do you see this e-fulfillment cluster going by for Panamá Pacífico?
Yeah, I think it's growing. I think Panama has always been a hub for logistics. I think some of the occupiers at Panamá Pacífico have used it as their regional hub for things like medical equipment, pharmaceuticals and other services. I think in terms of e-fulfillment, it's growing in scale, and the big players are looking at this at quite a regional level. So what that means and what we're seeing is that every city is having several fulfillment centers and hubs growing around the edge of it in order to do the last mile and to support their distribution networks throughout. So that includes all the retailers, the food and supermarkets, plus others, as well as the business to business suppliers.
In your opinion, and generally, what are the new necessities, talking about the post-COVID era, that the city needs to be evolving very, very, very fast in short term?
Yeah, so I suppose from a business perspective, first of all, I think the short term impact of COVID has seen in many countries, look at how they satisfy those immediate demands, things like food, PPP, and pharmaceuticals. And people were looking at localizing and setting up additional hubs to support local manufacturing and production of those items. I think probably medium to long term, it's really going to accelerate some of the trends that we're already seeing. So we're seeing the digital manufacturing and logistics combine with the supply chain, but with a kind of an eye on resilience. So just having one center globally to do all of your manufacturing is probably not resilient enough. So rather than just go to the lowest cost destination, a lot of manufacturers in particular are setting up regional hubs in each geography, so that they can kind of have resilient supply to their core markets, but also they've got a place to hold larger inventories. So Panama can benefit from that trend in terms of the Americas and also thinking of the US as well. So it's a case of kind of just in time combining with just in case, and it's probably going to need bigger plots and more space to allow for some storage as well. In terms of sort of living environment, I think, yeah, we've seen, as I mentioned, the impact on sort of working environments, particularly people that are office-based and the ability to work from home, and demand for online shopping, online education, online entertainment. We've seen that play through in the short term, but I think people in the lockdown have been sort of thinking through, you know, what do they want from their lifestyle and what kind of environment do they want to live in? And you've always had the pull of the city in terms of employment, but I think people are balancing that, perhaps with thinking through about having more space, you know, more private amenities and play areas on the doorstep, and, you know, with the remote working and perhaps a slight reluctance around, at least in the short term, public transport and travel being more difficult. I'm thinking perhaps a bit more about suburbs. And I think Panamá Pacífico in some respects sort of balances the pull of the city with the suburbs and the green environment, in terms of sort of combining those attributes together, with its kind of easy reach of the city, but also providing the amenities and the mix that you don't always find in some of the other peripheral areas in Panama. So I think it's making people think again, but I think people are thinking through sort of, you know, where's the quality, you know, it's about quality of environment, I think.
Do you think that Panama Pacífico is ready for that new era?
Yeah, I think the master plan's given it good bones to grow on, and I think each of the phases that has come through has learned from the last ones as well. So I think yeah, there is that attention on the social side of things and thinking through, yeah, what lifestyles and interests are people coming to the community have, and how can you accommodate those better. So right. I think each is got all the ingredients, but I think you know, priorities and the market obviously evolves. So I think there's a mix that's always required to meet that.
Right. So let me I will do a very quick Spanish summary, and then we are going to take some initial questions. Bueno, okay. Lo que sí, efectivamente, lo que nuestro invitado hoy, Roger Savage, ha comentado, pues esto, de que el plan maestro data desde el 2008 y algunas cosas como, algunos términos como sostenibilidad, resiliencia y usos mixtos, y hasta términos como Smart Cities estaban inmersos dentro de nuestro master plan desde ese momento, y parece ser que pues y fue las bases que nos ha ayudado para empezar a promover este proyecto, que sí se basaron en ciudades que están en nuestro mismo, que tienen nuestro mismo clima, porque pues esto es es muy diferente cuando uno planifica ciudades que tienen diferentes tipos de clima, y se inspiraron en ciudades como Singapur y algunas partes de Australia. Sin duda alguna que la posición geográfica de Panamá Pacífico pues, es una de sus más grandes ventajas. Estamos cerca del canal de Panamá y sin duda alguna pues estamos alineados con la definición o el objetivo principal del país, pues esto que es ser un sector de logístico y de servicio. Y que le hice una pregunta de que cuando él escuchó de que proyectos como el cuarto puente sobre el canal y la expansión de la vía panamericana, ¿cuál fue la sensación? Y lo que él contestó, pues esto, que la sensación de él como master planner fue que el centro de la ciudad de Panamá, debido a la tanta conectividad, pues esto se iba a cambiar un poquito más hacia acá, y que sin duda alguna pues eso iba a reforzar muchísimo todo lo que son los sectores logísticos. Le hice una pregunta sobre cuál es el rol del ciudadano de Panamá Pacífico. Sin duda alguna, pues esto es un ciudadano que vive o trabaja aquí, que él puede hacer uso de todas las instalaciones, puede crear él es innovador, fue pionero en un momento dado y se va a beneficiar con todas las estructuras que te incentiven tener una vida más saludable. Empezamos a tocar un poquito lo que iba a suceder o cuál era su opinión sobre qué iba a suceder después en esta nueva era post-COVID. Sin duda alguna, pues conversamos mucho sobre clustering. Clustering es el agrupamiento de empresas que sean afines y que pues se puedan servir cada una para crear ambientes de sostenibilidad. Dice que ahí nos comentó pues esto de que efectivamente hay mucho de qué hablar ahora con la tecnología que finalmente la estamos utilizando. No es que nunca la hemos utilizado, pero ahora estamos encima de eso y que todo este nuevo mercado de e-fulfillment no es que todo va a ser por internet, sino que son empresas que necesitan espacios de todas maneras, ¿no? Y son espacios para trabajar y espacios para almacenar. Finalmente le hice una pregunta que si él consideraba que Panamá Pacífico estaba listo para la era post-COVID y pues sin duda alguna piensa que sí, pues porque estamos destinados para eso con todas las estructuras y los nuevos proyectos que van a van a impactar en Panamá Pacífico. Queremos tomar algunas preguntas para aprovechar que está Roger aquí. Vamos a ver cómo hacemos esto. Un segundo. Vamos a ver. Algunas preguntas. ¿Cómo podemos correr? Vamos a ver. Well, this is a very good question, Roger. I like this one. Oh, I don't want to miss. Yeah. When did the housing project drive the logistic and food project, or what, vice versa? Or can they go together from the start?
Yeah, I think they grew in parallel, really. I think it was really important to have very important to get a kind of critical mass of activity going from the beginning to help support the services in the area. I think one of the things was originally it was thought that all of the residential areas were really going to take off first before the employment did, but in reality, I think the growth in logistics and employment actually surprised the team at how quickly that grew. And I think we have seen both benefit from one another being there. I think having a lot of employment nearby means that it makes the transport services that are laid on much easier in terms of what you're able to provide.
All right. And there is another question here, and that's probably will be related with the answer that you just gave. How do you avoid to create a dormitory city like we call that here Ciudad dormitorio?
Yeah, I think I think people like variety, so I think people want to access other parts of the city as well. But I think it's really having a rich mix of activities within the project that really encourages people to stay local, but also attracts new people to the area. So I think over time we've seen the provision for retail and shopping grow, and maybe in the future you could expect to see a few more cultural options and even more leisure options as the city grows. So I think the more people you have, the richer the mix of activities that you can bring. And I think it's having that mix of sort of jobs, leisure, and a nice living environment that really helps.
Sí, ahí le hice dos preguntas a Roger que estaban totalmente relacionadas. El que, y ahí nos preguntaron que cuando uno desarrolla estas grandes ciudades, ¿qué viene primero? Si la parte residencial jala la parte logística o la parte logística jala o incentiva la parte residencial. Y la, y la segunda pregunta que está totalmente relacionada era cómo evitar las ciudades dormitorio, ¿no? Y lo que nos contestó pues esto es que es un mix, o sea, son actividades que crean sinergias, pero que sí es importante tener un mix de actividades. El hecho de que se tengan un mix de actividades como comerciales, como residenciales, lo que va a hacer es puesto que el tiempo de estadía de los residentes y de los colaboradores se alargue, entonces ya hay uno puede, entonces esto activa lo que es el retail también, ¿no? Pero sí, no es que uno viene, entonces viene la otra, sino que son como que los tres polos que se unen también. Vi una pregunta aquí que me pareció importante. Déjame ver si la busco. Soy nuevo en este sistema, ustedes discúlpenme. Vamos a ver. Yeah. Roger, when you put a vision of this project 10 years ago, and what is your sensation or what is your opinion in what you are seeing right now?
Yeah, no, I think it's very encouraging. It takes time for communities to reach maturity, but I think the early results of the project, because 10 years isn't a long time in an evolution of a city, is really encouraging to see how the environment has matured, but also how the housing and the communities have grown together. So I think that's been a real positive. I think how the business community has got established is the other key thing. I think we didn't expect to have quite so many jobs and businesses on site, but so seeing that really develop has been good. I think some of the pointers for the future that I think would be really good to see is we know that there's additional neighbourhoods and precincts planned within the site, and it would be great to see the linkages over towards the coast enhanced as well over time. So maybe seeing some perhaps even thinking of a boat across to Amador maybe. And I think transport is always at the top of everybody's list. So I know that everybody is really waiting for the fourth crossing and the metro, because I think we know that can be a challenge at times, and I think that project is much awaited by everyone. So I think thinking how those connections link into Panamá Pacífico and thinking about the internal mobility when that happens is going to be a really important feature for the next 10 years.
Right. Cogí una de las preguntas que estamos aquí viendo en el chat sobre cuál es de lo que él planificó hace 10 años y lo que está viendo ahora, cuáles eran sus impresiones. Y lo que nos contestó, pues esto, que sí, el llegar a que solo hayan pasado 10 años es como que es poco tiempo para analizar si un producto ya ha llegado a su etapa madura, pero que sí le ha sorprendido muchísimo cómo sí se han establecido estas comunidades, tanto residenciales como las comerciales, como la cantidad de empleos que se han generado sí fue algo que lo impresionó muchísimo y que lo que sigue es exactamente eso, ¿no? Seguir conectando todos los polos de desarrollo dentro de Panamá Pacífico y expandirlo más. Ahí nos reímos un poco por esto porque él habló también de que él ve una buena oportunidad de que ya Panamá Pacífico finalmente se conecte a lo que es la costa del canal de Panamá y por qué no tener proyectos que crucen con un barco de un lado a otro y tener ese tipo de actividades. Vamos a leer yo no sé cómo andamos de tiempo, yo puedo ir leyendo preguntas que si me guían con mucho gusto. Vamos a ver otras preguntas. How are you okay in time, Roger? Can we do some?
Yeah,
Can we
sure.
shoot some more questions?
Yeah,
All right.
by all means.
Right. This is a very good question too. What's your opinion on the waste management and what they call circular economy?
Yeah, I've actually been working on another project which has been centered on the circular economy. So I think there's quite a few opportunities there. It's not only about recycling and around packaging. I think it's something that all industries are looking at in terms of how they can improve their efficiency across the cycle. So it's partly about saving water. It's partly about saving energy as well as materials. So I think the fashion industry is something that's playing through in. I think there's been a lot of attention around the food sector, and about reducing food waste, and the link and eliminating the wastage in the supply chain as well. So using the best logistics as well as tapping things at the household end as well. And then it's also playing through in some of the heavy industries as well. So I think people are bringing some of that kind of sharing economy thinking to some more traditional sectors, particularly around that food sector.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And I think Panama Pacifico has the opportunity to establish itself as a hub for some of these green industries as well. So yeah, I think food is definitely one of those, as well as its role in logistics. But I think you can also see, some of the maker spaces crop up as well, where people are trying to reuse textiles and clothing and turn them into new products as well. So people using old materials and then using it in furniture production, for example. That's been something that quite a few communities have been looking at.
Okay. Sí, le hice a Roger una pregunta sobre su opinión sobre waste management y sobre la economía circular. Sin duda alguna, pues él opina varias cosas ahí. Todo debe estar en pro de la sostenibilidad, ahorrar agua, ahorrar materiales y ahorrar energía también. Sí, hace mucho énfasis en esto. Siempre va a haber una oportunidad en cómo mejorar las logísticas, cómo reducir los tiempos de logística, cómo hace énfasis en el mercado de la comida también, y yo creo que eso es algo de las cosas que se están reflejando en nuestra mentalidad hoy por hoy, y sin duda alguna hace énfasis también en cómo se puede reducir todo lo que son los desechos que vienen de las industrias de alimentación también. Vamos a ver otra pregunta por aquí, vamos a ver. Ok, bueno, Sí. Ok. Bueno, ya nos están dando ya la orden que nos hemos pasado de tiempo. Roger, they are just writing to us that we really past the time, but it's always good to have a conversation with you. It's always a pleasure. So, well, thank you very much for your time. You have the open mic to give your last thoughts.
No, thanks very much for inviting me, and I look forward to catching up again in Panama very soon. I think I think the first 10 years, or the first decade or so of Panamá Pacífico has really laid a strong foundation for what comes next. And I think there's a lot of emerging trends that are going to help take the project onto the next level. I think the trend towards greener lifestyles is something that is quite easy to achieve within the project. And I think the way the economy is changing is definitely going to feed through into the next phases of the business park and the logistics areas. And I think we will finally see some of those transport connections coming across, which I think will certainly open up some of those areas close to the highway as well for future development.
All right.
So
well,
I think
yeah. Go ahead.
So I think there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, le pedí a Roger que nos diera unas últimas palabras, y lo que nos comentó fue esto de que efectivamente tenemos una buena base. Creo que, y conversó un poquito sobre las tendencias que pueden suceder a partir de la actualidad, que sin duda alguna hay una tendencia de vivir un poquito más verde, y lo que eso significa son muchas cosas: vivir verde y vivir sostenible, y que sin duda alguna el Panamá Pacífico está preparado, tiene unas bases sólidas dentro de su plan maestro para definir o aceptar esa nueva tendencia. Bueno, muchas gracias por su participación, por atender a nuestro primer webinar con P de Panamá Pacífico. Ha sido todo un placer. Sin duda alguna, pues estas conversaciones con Roger duran horas y horas, y tratamos de buscar palabras claves para ser lo más concisos posible. Sin duda alguna, espero que le haya gustado. Mi nombre es Arturo Sáenz, soy el gerente senior de planificación y desarrollo de London and Regional, desarrolladora de Panamá Pacífico. Que tengan una buena tarde, manténgase con salud, ánimo. Roger, can you want to say goodbye?
Yes, adios. Muchas gracias for your thanks for listening to me.
All right.
So I'll sign off from here. So
all right, thank you very much.
Adios.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
A todos.